right, everyone, it is the moment that you have all been waiting for when Rising reveals our official list of the week's winners and losers. Saagar, who's your loser?
Okay, my loser this week makes me very sad, which is to say it is policy. And that's something that really underscores the week and the campaign as it continues day by day. I think it's like 46 days until the election. You know, it's 11 days until the first presidential debate. And I remember
people are already voting in North Carolina.
People are voting in the state of North Carolina. People are now getting ballots mailed to them in Pennsylvania and in Wisconsin. And we are just deprived of a national conversation about anything to the extent that we have one. It's just about these stupid culture war issues. It's not about what's really happening right now. Majority of younger Americans are living at home. 30 million people on unemployment. Just a complete catastrophe and disaster for so many people who are working class in this country. And nobody seems to care. Nobody's talking about it. Not the media. You saw that on display. Anderson Cooper asking Biden, who's playing Trump in the debate prep? It's like, what? You have very limited time, my man, and that's what you're going to ask him about?
Yeah.
It's just over and over and over again. You see a dearth of policy interest. Right now, huge negotiations going on in the United States Senate around the Problem Solvers Caucus, this $1.5 trillion deal, all of that. I mean, you might see a little bit of coverage of this on the business networks and like occasionally in terms of interviews on their networks and here, but everywhere else you go, nothing. Biden was not asked one question about what specific economic program that he was going to do by CNN last night.
That's outrageous.
And Trump even, same thing. To the extent he said anything in his second term, he's going to do a capital gains tax cut. So what does this all mean for you? I mean, I think it means that you're being basically left behind again and again and again, especially in your most time of need.
I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Voters keep telling pollsters that healthcare is a very important priority for them. And both of these candidates got questions this week about healthcare, and neither one of them really had anything to say whatsoever. I mean, Trump is like invents in his mind that there's a plan. We literally do not have anything for him on what he would do in healthcare. He just like keeps attacking Obamacare, but he's like, oh, I'll have a plan. It's a great plan. I'm working on a plan. Like, what are you doing? We've been in office for 3.5 years, and by the way, the election is not very far away. You don't have a plan. You don't plan on having a plan. Biden does have a plan, but he seems to be, which was already like a compromise corporate plan that he seems to be, Democrats seem to be backing away from already. There were no specifics discussed about it really last night at his town hall either. So just even if you look at like issue by issue, it's just completely depressing.
Yeah, it really is. Who's your loser?
Mine kind of goes along with that. My loser is democracy. For one thing, I mean, we've covered a couple of moments here of just how rather than being fought on the grounds of policy, this election is being fought on existential grounds. Trump trying to convince, his base that Democrats are going to indoctrinate your children and destroy the country. Democrats, of course, you know what they say about Donald Trump, feel equally existential on that fight as well, which is why there is no substance here when it's just an existential struggle. What do the details matter? Like healthcare, who cares? The country's going to end. That's the way that people feel. But we also had some specific things this week. We covered here how the Democratic Party is aggressively trying every tactic and successfully in many instances of kicking the Green Party off the ballot. We also dug into the fact that some key swing states, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, you can't even start counting the ballots until Election Day, which means you're going to have days, maybe weeks before you actually know the winner of the election, which, as fragile as the country is right now, even just something like that, I don't know if we can take.
No, I agree. And, actually, the worst case scenario I heard is that this will actually be great for cable news because it'll keep people coming back every single night to hear what the election special. It'll be like a mini series instead of a one-time event.
So true.
Means we are all going to be way worse off.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Who's your winner?
Okay, my winner this week is the GOP establishment. Once again, I think that's the second time that I've put them as a winner. And it comes through in these congressional negotiations that I was talking about. I mean, the more that we do culture war fights and the more that we ignore these things, they get to win. They are killing right now a Trump-led effort to try and increase the size of stimulus payments to Americans and actually spending some money in the middle of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. They refuse to do it. They are the winners. They are controlling everything. And I see this throughout all aspects. Every day you have some person who worked in the Trump administration who joins the Biden campaign or the Lincoln Project. And I'm like, these are the GOP establishment figures who they hired, who Trump let them hire and put into his government. Lo and behold, they're all secret Biden rhinos. And then they come out during the election and they're like, I work for Donald Trump and don't vote for him. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have hired him in the first place. And nothing crystallizes this for me more. An H.R. McMaster, who was Trump's national security advisor for over a year, who has just come out, has chosen to speak out. On what grounds? Afghanistan. He says that Trump's efforts to do peace are aligning with the Taliban over the Afghan government and are an insult to the blood spilt of Americans over there. Now, I think that's opposite. I think that defending it is actually an insult to the blood spilt of Americans there. But why did you hire this man? Why was he ever in your government?
Fair.
And these people, when they pay no consequences, he'll make millions of dollars on a stupid book and advocating for more war in Afghanistan.
Yeah, they always hate him for like the worst reason. There's a lot of reasons to hate Donald Trump, but they always hate him for like the worst reason. Like the slightly good things he do, they're like, that's where the line is. You can't have peace. What are you thinking, you know? We covered the poll about, it's like 70% of Americans support the direction of like, if we have to negotiate with the Taliban, so be it.
Go for it.
Not ideal, but yes, let's do it. Let's get out of there. But yeah, very well said.
There you go.
I have an actually happy winner. This is a good one. So big union victory, not something we get to say very often in this country at this point, for nurses in North Carolina who are now going to be represented by National Nurses United. This is really significant for a couple of reasons. First of all, just the numbers involved. This is 1,800 nurses in Asheville. It was an overwhelming victory, and the odds were dramatically against them. We covered here how the Trump National Labor Relations Board has very aggressively, almost completely shut down the ability even to have these votes. So it was delayed for months and months, which means the employer has more time to try to keep people from voting ultimately to unionize. So they overcame that. It was a landslide victory for a union in a state also in North Carolina that's been very hostile to union rights and labor rights for a long time. But also of note is the fact that National Nurses United is one of the most progressive, if not the most progressive union in the country. They've long backed Medicare for all. They supported Bernie Sanders both in 2016 and in 2020. So big victory for them. And there's some research that shows that when you have unions representing healthcare workers, it's not only obviously good for those workers, but it also improves safety and outcomes in those facilities as well. So this is good all the way around.
Well, it's good to have a happy winner. So.
All right, next week on Rising, managing editor at Sabato's Crystal Ball, no relation, Kyle Kondik, reveals why a potential Trump victory could look a lot like 2016. And filmmaker and producer Michael Kirk discusses his new documentary, The Choice 2020.
Remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos. And don't forget to like and share as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Have a great day. Actually,
no. We'll see.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
We'll see you.
Saying that.
We'll see you on Monday.